so many things when it comes to diet that we were told were healthy, we find out later are not, and it kind of goes back and forth. And one of the things that we had talked about earlier was butter. All of a sudden, front page of a major news magazine this week saying, you know what, it is healthy. How do people know, what is healthy and what's not when things change so much like that?
Well, it's a good question, right? So arguably so. If you needed, if you had a plumbing problem in your house, right? You have a $10,000 plumbing system and you're springing leaks and you need advice about what to do to fix it, you would not go to your daughter's high school swim coach. I mean, the swim coach knows a lot about water. They're in water all day long and they know certain things about water that a lot of other people don't. But even though they're in water and they know a lot about water all day long, they're the wrong person to talk to about plumbing, even though plumbing is associated with water, right? So you need the right person for the right job. The problem that we have here is that the MDs and the pharmaceutical industry, because they have co-opted the medical market here in the free world, because they've co-opted the medical market here in the free world, give advice freely about things that they don't really have any appreciation or understanding for, right? In the same way that you wouldn't go to your high school swim coach to figure out your plumbing, going to an MD to get advice about food and nutrition is a bad idea because that's not their wheelhouse. But we've gone to these people for the last 100 years because the pharmaceutical industry has trained us to believe that anybody who has an MD after their name has a secret decoder ring that gives them knowledge about everything. And it's nonsense. And we've taken the wrong dog to the hunt, is why. Really, my profession, Dr. Wallach especially springs to mind, has been telling people for 30 years that butter is good, that lard is good, that salt is good, that oil is bad, fried food is bad, margarine is bad. We've been trumpeting this information forever because that, in fact, is our wheelhouse. So if you want advice about medical nutrition, then it would be prudent for you to secure the services of a licensed and regulated physician whose profession wrote the book on medical nutrition, which is what we did. Now, people don't know this. People don't know that this information about butter and salt, for instance, hasn't entered into the mainstream because my profession hasn't entered into the mainstream. Why hasn't my profession entered into the mainstream? Because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want us to. We don't have a free medical market. In Seattle, as a naturopathic physician, I can deliver babies, prescribe drugs, perform surgery, order any diagnostic tests I want, call myself a physician, and it's all covered by insurance. If I did exactly the same thing in Chicago that I did in Seattle, I'd be fined $5,000 and thrown in jail for a year for practicing medicine without a license. And that's not right. And you know why that is? Because when my profession tries to secure licensure, the American Medical Association brings out a dog and pony show and says, oh no, not those naturopaths. They have substandard training. It'll rain cats and dogs and the sky will start bleeding if you let the naturopaths into the game. It's nonsense. Because I think they know on some level that if all of a sudden there was an even playing field, and by some genie in the bottle magic, we all woke up tomorrow, and there were just as many naturopathic physicians in the world as there were MDs. There were just as many naturopathic hospitals as there are allopathic MD hospitals. That insurance covered everything equally, and that was equal research money distributed to all fields of medicine. If that were to come to pass, within 5 years, an MD with a general family practice would be out of business. Because in a free market, people gravitate towards what works. For chronic illnesses, medical nutrition works. Holistic medicine works. For trauma, allopathic reductionism works. If I was the king of the world, it would be illegal for MDs to treat chronic disease. I mean, we don't go to chiropractors for open heart surgery, and rightly so. nor should we go to an MD for anything concerning a chronic disease. And people don't know about medical nutrition because the profession that knows about medical nutrition has been kicked off the bus of medicine. It happened in the 1920s with the Flexner Report in the United States. And so we're slowly starting to make our way back, and that's why, 30 years after we've been telling people butter is good, all of a sudden it's mainstream and it's like, oh my God, that's simply because of politics and power.